It was one of those hot, restless summer afternoons in New Orleans when the air feels heavy enough to slow even the most hurried traveler. The lobby of the Belmore Grand Hotel was buzzing with guests dragging suitcases, receptionists clicking. Through computer screens and the faint sound of jazz music leaking in from the street. Everything was moving smoothly until she walked in. The woman was small in stature, but carried herself with the elegance of someone used to commanding rooms, without saying a word. She wore a tailored ivory suit, diamond studs that caught the sunlight every time she turned her head, and a silk scarf with patterns so intricate it looked like it belonged in a museum. But when she reached the front desk, everything seemed to freeze. The receptionist, a young man with perfectly combed hair and a fixed customer service smile, leaned forward. "Welcome to the Belmore Grand, ma'am. How can I help you?" The woman responded, but her words were in Mandarin, her tone polite yet urgent. The receptionist blinked, clearly not understanding. "I'm sorry, could you maybe say that again?" She repeated herself, slightly louder, but it was no use. He looked over at another staff member, then another. Each of them tried, but the barrier stood firm. Guests in the lobby began watching, whispering. A few smirked. One man in a wrinkled suit muttered, "Maybe she should have brought a translator." The woman's cheeks flushed. She wasn't yelling, but her voice carried an edge of frustration. She pointed at a reservation printout and then at herself. She gestured toward the elevator and then back to her wrist, as if asking about time. But it was clear. Nobody understood her. That's when Clarice, the maid, entered the scene. Clarice was a tall black woman in her early 40s, wearing the hotel's Navy housekeeping uniform. She had been polishing the brass railings on the staircase, half watching the scene unfold. Most hotel staff didn't notice her much. Maids came and went like shadows. But Clarice had lived a life far richer than anyone here knew. She wasn't supposed to step in. She wasn't front desk staff. But something about the woman's tense expression pulled her forward. Clarice set down her cleaning rag, walked up beside the receptionist, and said softly, "I can try." Before anyone could question her, she turned to the woman and spoke. Flawless. Mandarin, calm and clear. The transformation was instant. The millionaire's eyes widened and a smile broke across her face, the kind that lights up a room and knocks down walls. "Ni hui shuo zhongwen," she exclaimed, relief flooding her voice. Clarice laughed lightly. "Yes, ma'am. I speak Mandarin. How can I help you?" The entire lobby seemed to exhale. The receptionist's jaw dropped. A tourist near the coffee station whispered to her husband, "Did you just hear that? The maid speaks Chinese?" Guests who moments ago were staring with condescension were now leaning in, fascinated. In Mandarin, the woman explained her situation. Her flight had been delayed, she was exhausted, her luggage had been misplaced by the airline, and she had a VIP suite booked that was supposed to have certain amenities ready. She had been trying to explain this for 15 minutes, but nobody understood her. Clarice nodded, translating every detail for the staff. Within minutes, the front desk team was moving quickly, sending someone to retrieve bottled water, arranging a courtesy luggage kit, and ensuring her suite was ready immediately. The woman kept glancing at Clarice, her gaze softening with gratitude. When everything was settled, the millionaire placed a gentle hand on Clarice's arm and said in Mandarin, "You have no idea how much this means to me. You are the first person today who truly saw me." Clarice smiled. "I've been where you are. Being in a place where nobody speaks your language, it can make you feel invisible. But you're not invisible to me." The woman was silent for a moment, her eyes glistening. Then she asked, "May I know your name?" "Clarice Johnson," she replied. The millionaire repeated it slowly, as though committing it to memory. Over the next few days, the two crossed paths often. Clarice would greet her in Mandarin, ask if she needed anything, and sometimes sneak her a cup of the jasmine tea kept. in the staff break room. The woman, whose name was May, began sharing bits of her story. She was not just wealthy. She was self-made, a technology entrepreneur from Shanghai who had built a multinational company from scratch. She had come to New Orleans not for leisure, but to explore investment opportunities in community-based housing projects. "I believe in giving back," she told Clarice one morning, "especially to communities that are often overlooked." Clarice listened, deeply moved. On May's last day, she asked to meet Clarice after her shift. They sat together in the quiet hotel lounge, the morning sun painting gold across the carpet. May reached into her designer handbag and pulled out a sleek folder. Inside was a letter of recommendation addressed to the hotel's general manager, praising Clarice's professionalism, kindness, and exceptional language skills. Alongside it was a check, far more than a tip. "This is for you," May said. "Use it however you need. But I also have another idea. I have a project starting here in the U.S., and I need someone I can trust, someone who understands people. Would you consider working for me?" Clarice was stunned. "Ma'am, I clean rooms. I'm not sure I'm qualified for—" May held up a hand. "Clarice, you are exactly the kind of person I need. Skills can be taught. Heart cannot." Tears welled in Clarice's eyes. She thought of the years she'd spent quietly working in the background, barely acknowledged. She thought of her son Marcus, who was saving for college. This could change everything. She accepted. 2 months later, Clarice was on a plane to San Francisco, where May's U.S. office was based. She had a new title, community liaison, and a salary she never dreamed of. She helped coordinate housing projects, bridging cultural gaps, just as she had bridged one in the Belmore Grand Lobby. And every time someone asked how she'd landed such a role, she'd smile and say, "It started with a hello in Mandarin." Sometimes the smallest act, stepping forward when no one else does, becomes the moment that changes your life forever. And in Clarice's case, that moment came in a hotel lobby between a millionaire Chinese woman who couldn't be understood and a black maid who could. So the next time you see someone struggling to be heard, don't just walk past. Step forward. You never know. The life you change might just be your own.